playing music here is pretty obviously a clearing. That can show up in a lot of different ways. There's a sense of mental space, clarity of thought, and general well-being that happens. Playing is a demanding experience. There's a lot of energy in the air. I'm not sure I would call it easy, although when it's good, it is. But it's you've talked about it having a healing quality, and I think that is magnified by participating in it.
Well, then, let's say, related to the basic practice of living from a certain perspective or view, if you want to call it that, understanding, assumption, or practice. And that's brought into whatever's going on, whether it's music or dance or, going to the post office. And so that's, I think, the way to see it here is that it's something that begins with your breathing and your, let's say, sense of selfless origin, heart speaking, and bring that to the music, if you can do that. And you say, well, it may not be the music, it's a practice, and then you bring the practice into the music, and the music has the quality of the practice.
Yeah.
And that's why maybe amongst out players, as they call it, the freer kind of people, they may not generate the same kind of feeling or sound as such. It's more devotional. In that sense, I'm a devotee of the divine as such, figure of speech, source, spirit.
Yeah. The demands that are placed on me by playing music here, and the responses that come up are often seem like the completion of the word. When I'm playing, it seems much easier and more obvious to integrate the teachings into the music than it may seem out in the world.
Well, the teachings are practice, and playing music is a form of practice. So they shouldn't have to be too different. So there's a schism. It's not about the schism, it's about the continuity between how you're being and then what you're doing. Gap should be closed. You should be what you be and what you do. Comment.
Yeah. And in the musical context, it seems like that gap, when it is there, is obvious. It's much more obvious to me than other circumstances. And when it closes, it's also obvious to the point of being ecstatic. It can be very
mad,
strong.
Yeah. So kind of blissful event of sorts. Yeah. Alms for the poor. Yeah. So the teachings on Heart Fire Sound are very much to the point. It's not just a cozy name for what I do. It's really the description of the practice of the heart. Say. And the devotional nature of the practice of the heart. and the unique compassion that shows up as a result of that. So, that includes everybody. It's not interested in anybody, but it includes everybody. Because there's no real sense of separation, although there's an intelligence that is discrete in terms of what it says to who shows up, and how it plays for whoever shows up as well.
I think one of the things that some people may not realize about your music and about you as a player is how intensely and completely you are listening. And I guess listening may be too small a word in this case.
No, but you're listening. You're listening, so you're here. You hear the listening that's going on.
Yeah.
You're in a good observation sort of point. Whether it's a forward observer, as they say in the military, right up there, the action with your binoculars. Yes.
And it's not just you sort of bandstanding, as they say. It's an integrated process. It's
Well, it's leadership without grandstanding.
Yeah.
See, and that's working with the impulse from the spirit. And not just to express, but to be true. So it's more than just expression. To be true, to be dead certain of what it is without any ego filters whatsoever. See, to be that deeply engaged in the process of hearing and feeling and expressing or giving to create a certain impact on people. See, that is exemplary of what practice should be about as a devotional mode of practice. See?
And you've probably said something like that as we were talking about Dharma. To hear it from two perspectives, to hear it played and to hear it spoken, and to have one and the other not displace one another, but to entirely reinforce and deepen the meaning of what you say and play is powerful.
Well, it can be done, and maybe it should be done by more than a few. It shouldn't be the exception, it should be the norm. Yeah. And we bring a whole other presence to this planet in the process. We bring the presence, and this could be a very workable, say, experience in terms of the higher potential of human interaction, creative interaction, maybe even musical interaction, which I'd say is best from the point of view of heart practice. Go ahead.
Yeah, my observation from where I'm coming from, going to school at Berkeley in Boston, very musical, where music is pushed and you're pretty much, working on music all the time. And then going from there to Naropa University it felt like some kind of middle ground, where, you're starting to get away, you're getting, there's a little more emphasis on practice, yogic practice, sitting practice, different forms, chanting, so you're still learning some theory, but you're also integrating, a little more spiritual practice, and then which kind of led me to be here, which it's full, feels like, more emphasis on the spiritual practice. That should be first. So that's the point I've come to of observation of that.
Yeah, and here, if it's not spiritual practice, then it doesn't belong. It's it's strongly discouraged to be a musician, to be thinking in those terms, and to be playing as if one was a working musician out in the world.
Well, if it was a kind of discouragement, I'm not sure it is discouragement, it's a pointing out that here the whole, let's say, notion of music has to be more of the heart than anything else, say, not just an intellectual science as such, which is also in the service of music for sure, but here it's more native and primitive as a result of, let's say, deep practice, where you have to have a better sense of feeling than just thinking. Yeah? And you have to be in touch with, let's say, original emotion rather than just, say, ordinary, conventional emotions on the spectrum of, let's say, negative human experience. So we have to be deeper already and understand that. That's what the teacher points to. Who are you underneath all of that stuff? Who are you beyond what you think is emotional music or music of the blues, emotion and suffering, all of these conventional interpretations of certain kinds of music appears to be, maybe is not equal to, in a sense. So going deeper is the order of the day here. And so it's not against music as such. Music is music, it's great. Classical music is great, jazz music, all the pop music is great for who it's there to serve. But for practitioners getting beyond their minds and their culturing and their education and going deeper to a more profound state of realization and a, let's say, level of knowing beyond knowing, then of course there's a different challenge for those who come here as potential yogis of the Shabd as such, the super sound. The sound nobody can hear. And the sound that's all around but nobody can hear. It's the all sound. It's huge. It's the silence of sound. And so this is meditative, contemplative, going deeper, and hopefully being able to bring your playing up to that level. Bring your technique up to that level. So this is obviously for the few. Yeah. For now.